Here's a video on comparison of displaying sprites on a COCO III color computer. I watched Coco Nation had a tech night last Tuesday, and it kind of got me thinking about sprites again. I've been doing them an old-fashioned way for a long time. I don't do any fancy game stuff. I just do stuff for pleasure. So anyway, I put together a comparison. So let me get my self out of here and let's look at what I did. So here we go. Okay, you've seen that quick little demonstration. Now let's talk about exactly what I did to come up with the numbers there. Quickly, you'll be able to read this at some time here, but basically I've been for years using just the old blitter method of for j equals loop and splashed it on the screen. Again, it's not for best method for gaming or if you got multiple sprites running around, backgrounds, etc., etc. But anyway, watching it show the other night really inspired me. I had a sprite editor that I had put together, never finished it. It inspired me to finish my sprite editor on a color computer. Was able to get enough output of it to use it in this test. The other piece was the Tech Night was Paul Fiscarelli's CoCoSC, or Sprite compiler. He does 3 different methods in there. One is stack blasting, which if you watch that video you'll understand what that is. And 2 other methods. One was the ABX methods and the other one was LEAU method. And you can read through this document here and exactly what I did to get the exact numbers out of there. And look at the facts here. The tests were all done on a 256, 192, 16 color screen. I used the exact output coming out of Paul's program. I used stack blast method, index ABX, and index LEAU. And there was also another one I had used in the past. Glen Hewlett wrote one years ago. It was written in Quick Basic 64. And it's a little bit harder to use. He had written it for himself and he shared it with the world. And I got a copy of it, and it had a few problems. And I had emailed back and forth with him, and I found some problems in there and I fixed them and I run his. His isn't a GUI interface, it's a command line. It works, but it's a little bit harder to use. So anyway, I used the output of the SC and Glen's programs, and I made absolutely no changes to the outputs to any of them routines. I then put them into a program and I put together along with my old method of blitter, and well, that was the results. As far as the collection of the data, I used VCC, their trace debugger. I started at the very first instruction inside the routines and stopped the trace at the return subroutine and then collected the numbers there. And this is what was on the screen you've seen before. You can tell the number of cycles, number of bytes it takes to implement that. You can read them and determine yourself if it's meaningful or not. The last one's interesting. The code to use the blitter method only takes 28 bytes for all the code to put on the screen. The actual FCBs, which is output, well, you get the output from Paul's Sprite compiler, or I got the output from my Sprite editor, the FCBs, and they take 128 bytes, so total was 156 bytes. And here's the good part. While all his results have meaning for something, in the real world, it probably doesn't make much difference, because if you're writing just to a black background, slamming stuff on the screen, anything will work. But if you've got multiple moving sprites, backgrounds that are moving, transparencies, screen flipping, the blitter method probably isn't going to work. So you may use some of the routines or the other ones. The other noticeable difference I put in there was CoCoSC draws top to bottom, and Glen's draws from bottom to top. Both was interesting the way they work. Glen's was because he does a lot of pushes, which means he just kept going backwards through everything. It's kind of neat, but he has some problems with this. Anyway, hopefully this helps somebody, and especially a lot of kudos to Paul. I mean, it's really a fantastic product he's got. Watch that tech review or his presentation, CoCo Nation Tech, and you'll find a very, very, very useful product. And that's all. Hopefully this helps. Quick look at some of the coding, just to show you. After getting everything set up, I did 5 tests, as you can see on the screen there. Load up screen address where I wanted the rocket to show up. Did a jump subroutine for 1, 2, 3, 4, or A, B, C, D, all 5 rockets, and printed it. Takes almost no time to get there. Here was the code for rocket E. That's the blitter method. You'll see it's only 28 bytes of code. It doesn't check for anything. It doesn't care what's on the screen or anything. It just hammers it to the screen as fast as it can go. Here was the input to that. Now this output could come out of Paul's Sprite compiler. I took it out of my Sprite editor, which doesn't do much other than that, but this was the output out of it, which matches exactly what Paul puts out, and that's it. That's all the routines that we did. So I thought you get a quick glimpse at some of what the code was. So we're done.